No, she's fine. She's.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Since there's a quorum, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order right at 2:00 p.m. And then Ruben, if you could commence with roll call, please.
Member Macia,
Present.
Member Ramirez,
Present.
Member Merritt,
Present.
Member Grove, Member McKillop,
Present.
Member Hernandez,
Present.
Member Kuda Fuller,
Present.
Member Gandara, Member Bui, present, and Member Garcia,
Present.
and we have a quorum.
And then I heard through the grapevine that member Raina Gross will be here later. All right, this time I would like to introduce any guests. Is there any guests who are attending in person who would like to introduce themselves?
My name is Hillary Thayer. I'm the library director for Monterey County Free Libraries, and we operate the public libraries throughout the county except for City of Salinas, City of Monterey, City of Pacific Grove, and City of Carmel by the Sea. But we operate from Pajaro to Parkfield, including the 101 corridor, Carmel Valley, Seaside, Marina. And I'm just sitting in because I'm also on the Commission for Disabilities with the county representing the department head. So just sitting in to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any guests on Zoom who would like to introduce themselves? All right, seeing none, on to item 2 for public comments on matters not on the agenda. Anybody in person? Anybody via Zoom? All right, seeing none, onto the consent agenda, the approval of the minutes from the last meeting of May 28th, 2025. Those were emailed out and I trust everybody has had a chance to review them. If there's a motion.
I move to approve the minutes from the meeting on May 28th, 2025.
A second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? The passed. All right, that ends our consent agenda. On to item 4, membership recruitment. Christie.
Thanks, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Christy Sugapo, Mobility Services Manager. With your agenda is the memo to recommend to the MST Board of Directors the appointment of a new member, Thomas De La Cruz. Thomas will represent County of Monterey Department of Social Services. The Mobility Advisory Committee, MAC, is membership is appointed by MST Board and makes recommendation to MST staff and the board regarding transportation needs of the seniors, veterans, and persons with disabilities, low income, and youth and isolated population. The committee acts as a liaison between MST and these communities to assure that their constituents and clients have input into the MST service planning process. So according to your MAC bylaws, membership of this committee shall consist of individuals chosen to represent key elements of the community, and that includes the disabled, elderly, social services, veterans, and healthcare agency. And not only that, it's to comply with the Transportation Development Act requirement of PUC 99238 for Social Services Transportation Advisory Council membership requirements. So the requirements of that is one representative of a potential transit user who is 60 years of age or older, one representative of potential transit user who is disabled, 2 representative of local service providers for seniors, including 1 representative of social transportation provider if one exists, 1 representative of a local social service provider for persons of limited means, 2 representative from a local consolidated transportation service agency designated pursuant to subdivision A of section 15975 of the government code if one exists, including 1 representative from an operator if one exists. Additionally, the bylaws of the committee call for a staggering of members term so that insofar as possible, 1/3 of appointment expire each year, and members shall be eligible for reappointment. So your committee's membership appointment recommendation for Thomas de la Cruz to the MST Board shall fill 1 vacancy on the Mobility Advisory Committee. And with your recommendation, it will put our membership to 11. So I'd like to go ahead and call Thomas to introduce himself to the committee.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Tom Delacruz. I work for the Department of Social Services in the Aging and Adult Services branch, specifically with the Monterey County Area Agency on Aging. And in that branch, we serve all the older adults in Monterey County, as well as individuals who have disabilities.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is an action item that requires voting of membership.
Is there a motion to accept Mr. Thomas de la Cruz to the committee?
I move so.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, Mr. De La Cruz, welcome. Yeah.
Recommendations.
Recommendation. And so at the next meeting, he would then be here with us.
Yes.
Okay. All right, on to item 5, new business, the discussion of the Commission on Disabilities. So the Commission on Disabilities advises the Monterey County Board of Supervisors on matters regarding people with disabilities, including regulating equal access to employment, public services, communications, accommodations, and infrastructure. The commission is comprised of representatives appointed by the members of the Board of Supervisors, cities within Monterey County, and from various community-based organizations located in Monterey County. So at the last meeting, I, as a representative from the Blind and Visually Impaired Center, joined the Commission on Disabilities. We had our first meeting on Monday. Great meeting, very informative and really impactful in the community. However, one of the things that the committee is lacking is membership. And so I am just asking if there is anybody who would like to serve on that committee appointed through the Mobility Advisory Committee through MST.
I'm interested, but I think that I would have to run that by my supervisor first,
Okay.
depending on the time that it happens.
Yeah, so they meet the last Monday every 2 months. So July 28th, so our next meeting would be October something. I have to check the calendar.
Where?
It meets at the Cayenne Room, which is at 1488 Schilling Place in Salinas. Yeah, not too difficult to find. We are in a great committee, a lot of positive things are going to start happening with it.
What time of day?
It is Mondays.
9, 8, 10.
Mondays at 2.
Thanks.
Yeah, Mondays 2 to 4. The committee meets. I know we don't need to necessarily select someone at this moment, but if you're interested, please reach out to Christy or Ruben. And then this way we can add it to the next calendar meeting, which gives everybody some time to think about it. And they are for 3-year terms as well. Any questions about the committee? On to item 6 then, reports and information items. Kevin, from Transit.
Good afternoon, everyone. Kevin Allshouse, Contract Services Manager for MST. So I think what I'll start with is just kind of we'll go over the dashboards first, and then I'll provide an update about the transition to our new contractor, Transdev. All right, so the first thing we've got is the trips by purpose. And these were all the trips that were provided by MV. So the bulk of the trips were for education, training, and daycare. As many of you know, La Casa is a adult daycare center in Salinas, and they have a lot of members that take trips regularly. So that's why you're seeing a lot of those. Also, dialysis medical trips are also high up there. Next slide, please. So the next one is Yellow Cab. So the majority of their trips, or the highest trip category for Yellow Cab, was personal recreational. So a lot of times Yellow Cab will be dispatched for ambulatory rides users. So oftentimes, you'll see them dispatch for those trips, like the personal trips and the shopping trips, more often. So, all right, next slide, please. All right, so we've got our trips and our passengers. So there was a slight dip in the number of trips year over year from last June, and a slight increase in the number of passengers, which is kind of interesting. But they're pretty close. So yeah, I don't have much to say beyond that. Next slide, please. All right, we've got our passengers per revenue hour. So in the contract, there's a standard that we have. It's 1.87 passengers per revenue hour. So, we'd like to see it around that. It's been coming in a bit lower, and for us, we focus more on on-time performance, because there's a little bit of a push and pull. If you're transporting more passengers per hour, that's good for efficiency, but on-time performance might suffer a little. So, we have to strike a good balance there. Moving on to on-time performance, that came in at around 82% for June. And it's not a huge dip. Obviously, year over year, there was improvements throughout the year, and then sort of a unimprovement, or a lack of improvement, for the last couple of months. And I would I would probably say that that's due to the transition to a new contractor. There's a lot of things going on towards the end of one contract and the start of a new contract. So service delivery suffered a little bit. All right, next slide, please. This is the rides call hold time. So this is another area that we would like to see improvement in, and are working with a new contractor to improve this. Obviously, when folks call in, we don't want them holding on the line for too long. It can be very frustrating when you're trying to speak with a reservationist and make your reservation. So for the contract, we like to see that 95% of the calls are answered within 3 minutes, and then 99% of the calls are answered within 5 minutes. And so, as you can see with this chart, it's didn't quite hit the mark the last couple months. So it's another area that we would like to see improvement on. Next slide, please. And finally, this is the passengers carried between valid complaints. So this is the higher the bar, the bigger the bar, the better. So that just means that you're carrying more passengers between valid complaints. And so all this data was for the last 2 months of MV's contract, of our contract with MV, I should say. So that was for May and June. We met with the new contractor, Transdev. We had our kickoff meeting. This was, I think it was April 17th of this year. And we had about almost 90 business days between, until the start of the new contract, July 1st. And obviously, there was a lot to do to transition to the new contractor. I remember thinking at the time that I was hoping that we would have enough time. I was a little concerned. But fortunately, Transdev came through in a big way. We started meeting with them on a weekly basis and just, a great transition team. This is something that, they have a group of individuals that basically just go around and do these transitions. And we were a little concerned because there's actually, in addition to Transdev taking over our contract, there were two other contracts locally that Transdev took over, and that was for Hollister, and the big one was VTA over the hill. So obviously that's a huge contract. So, we were concerned, hoping that they were going to give us the focus that we deserve, and they did. This transition team was great, really good communicators. We obviously met regularly. They worked with us throughout the transition, and just, checking off all the boxes, making sure that we had everything that we needed, making sure that they had everything that they needed. So overall, it's been a pretty smooth transition. Obviously, there's some hiccups here and there, but nothing major. There were no, major service issues, service delivery issues. So far, on-time performance has been improving. We've gotten some positive feedback from writers. And the good thing is that about 95% of the previous MV staff transitioned to the new contract. So, they're getting used to a new employer in Transdev. But I just my observations is that they're receiving a lot more support. They're getting a lot of training, and we're seeing the improvements in the service delivery. So obviously this is their first month, so we're gonna give them some time to get settled, of course. And the next MAC meeting, we'll have the Transdev folks here, so you can all meet them. And so yeah, overall, it's a smooth transition. We're very excited with the new contractor, and yeah, we're hopeful. So, any questions?
What was it in the contract competitive area when they were still competing that made you pick them over the ones that we already had?
Well, for us, there's a whole rubric that there's a team that goes through all the technical proposals. So we received three proposals. We reviewed all the proposals, scored them. Then we did interviews, scored the interviews, and then there's the pricing. So, basically pricing makes up about something like 15% or so of the overall score. So it's not everything, it's not the whole thing. But fortunately, Transdev, they got the best score on their technical proposal, they got the best score on their interview, and they were the cheapest. So it was a pretty easy decision.
Prior to the contract negotiations, was there any feeling of hope that there was somebody else coming on board, or were you unhappy with the service that we were getting with the other one?
With MV? No, I would say that we were hoping for some improvements in some areas, and what I'll say is I just feel that Transdev, the corporate office is really supporting this local team.
Okay.
And I will just leave it at that.
How long is the contract for?
It's 5 years with 2 one-year options. So yeah, it'll run through 2030, and then we'll decide whether or not to exercise those 2 one-year options.
think it would have been great to have a member from TransDev here, considering we are at the 30th of the month right now, and they've had, the full 30 days.
Yeah,
before
that's
stuff.
my fault. I should have, and made sure that someone from TransDev was here, but I did not. So currently we've got Blanca Peralta. She's our interim GM from TransDev. We have still have David Cox. He's the assistant GM. So we kind of talked about, should Dave do the update? But we just felt like this is still all of MV's data and information. So we'll just kind of keep it a clean cut. But yeah, I should have invited the interim GM to be here so that you could all meet her. So that's my fault.
And then I know during the transition, I would get a lot of complaints from my clients being hours late. Some would have an 8:30 pickup, 8:45 they'd be picked up. The driver was unhappy about all the changes. Of course, they complained to my clients. And my clients finally arrive at our center, which is about maybe 20 miles away at 10:45. It's almost 2 hours later. Was that just because of the transition or the lack of drivers?
Yeah, there tends to be, it's a little bit chaotic in a transition. We've got drivers that have been working for MV for a very long time. They're sort of used to the MV way. We have a new contractor coming in and, it's just, there's uncertainty, and uncertainty isn't great for human behavior.
Send you more information on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Kevin.
All right, thank you.
Next, MST mobility updates, Christy, once again.
All right. Again, Christy, Mobility Services Manager. So with my update, that I provide you with fiscal year mobility programs and services update, because I believe my last update on this was for the calendar year. Next slide, please. So there's 5 core programs with MST's mobility programs and services. That's the MST Rides program, the Taxi Voucher program, Travel Training program, Transportation Reimbursement Incentive program, the Navigator Volunteer program. Next slide, please. So to start, as Kevin provided with the update on service delivery, my update would focus on the eligibility side of it. So with MST Rights Program, in cooperation with the Americans with Disabilities Act, MST offers this program for any individual who is prevented from using our regular bus services, either for all or some of their trips. There is an application and an interview in order to qualify for the program. Once enrolled, certification may vary between from temporary, 3 years, or permanent. And then all trips requests are by reservation, and there is no same-day service. It's a shared ride. Services operate on the same hours as that of the regular bus services within 3/4 of a mile corridor from our MST bus stops. And then there is a service fee of $2 one-way trip. A personal care provider may ride for free, but a companion would pay a fare of $2. Next slide, please. So our fiscal year ended with mobility staff registering 724 applicants, of which 563 were new certification and 161 were recertification. We ended the fiscal year with 2,692 total enrolled participants in the program. Next slide, please. And then a breakdown of participation Age range varies. We have 66% at 65 years old and older. And then 34% at age 18 but younger than 65. And then with mobility, certification is at 71% for those who are ambulatory, and then 29% who are wheelchair dependent. Next slide, please. So onto the taxi voucher program. So there are 3 different categories for the taxi voucher program. Taxi vouchers for the elderly who are 65 and older, persons with disabilities, and for veterans. Proof of eligibility is required in order to register and receive taxi vouchers. We've partnered with voucher distribution sites and sign application for each of the participating cities, as well as service provider for persons with disabilities and veterans. Once the individual is registered and receive their vouchers, they can call any of the participating taxi cab companies, and to name them, there's 8 that are currently providing services. Yellow Cab, Orange Cab 1, and then there's an Orange Cab 2, South Taxi, Marina Cab, VIP Taxi, Salinas Taxi Cab Services, and California Taxi. Each one-way trip cost is $3 copay and one voucher for a taxi meter reading of $17 one way. If it exceeds more than the $17, then the rider is responsible to pay the difference. Next slide, please. So before I start with this one, I did notice that there is a typo on my total of FY trips. It should read 55,690 and not 55,096. So for FY 22, we ended with 8,841 registered participants in the taxi voucher program, with a breakdown of 62% seniors and 32% persons with disabilities, with 6% veterans. And then as corrected, there were a total of 55,690 trips taken in FY 25. Of which 67% were taken by seniors, 31% by persons with disabilities, and 2% by veterans. Next slide, please. And then on to our travel training program. So the travel training program is teaching individuals how to safely and independently travel using the MST BOSS system. Travel training sessions can be done one-on-one or in a group setting. Enrollment is very easy. Simply just contact our travel training program line or email mobility@mst.org. It is open to any individual varying from youth, persons with disabilities, elderly, or veteran. And skills learned will vary depending on participants' needs. So it can include like planning a trip, boarding with a mobility device such as a wheelchair, reading and understanding bus maps and schedules, or identifying the correct bus stops to use. Our mobility trainers have worked with organizations such as Hope Services, Interim, schools, senior housing facilities, senior centers, and veterans organization. Our trainers traveled with a group of seniors from the city of Salinas Firehouse to Monterey. Travel trained a senior resident of Pacific Grove to their medical appointment. Travel trained a group of seniors to the Monterey County Council in Salinas meeting, and then City of Greenfield seniors travel trained a group trip to the Monterey Ward. So this is a program that connects communities within Monterey County. And so in total for FY 25, we had 307 persons who participated in travel training sessions. Next slide, please. For the Transportation Reimbursement Incentive Program, TRIPS, this is a volunteer driver program where a senior or a person with disability, a veteran who lives more than 3/4 of a mile walking distance from MST's bus stop, can choose their own designated volunteer driver. Then MST reimburse the qualified individual so they can turn around and reimburse their volunteer driver who used their own vehicle to provide the transportation. The reimbursement rate is at 62.5 cents per mile up to 240 miles a month. The reimbursement is capped at $150 per month. Eligibility for this program is 2 years and it can be renewed. For fiscal year 25, majority of the trips were taken was for shopping and medical appointments. So we ended with 119 participants with a total of 11,818 trips that were reimbursed. But that brings us up since this percent trip increase. Next slide, please. The Navigator Volunteer Program. So the Navigator Volunteer Program, are volunteers who help promote MST services and mobility programs to the public and provide bus rides experience feedback to MST, or they work alongside MST staff at MST events. Volunteers are assigned at senior centers throughout Monterey County to regularly do outreach activities. Locations that are included are Sally Griffin Center in Pacific Grove, Aldemeyer Center in Seaside, Shoals Park Senior Center in Monterey, Junse Oak Senior Community Center in Marina, Chispa Senior Housing Community Centers in Salinas, and then Meals on Wheels at Salinas Valley South and North social events. There are currently 5 volunteers, and these volunteers committed a total of 570 hours in fiscal year 25. We do continue to recruit, and so if you know of anybody who is interested, it is open to 16 years and older. It just requires 10 hours minimum commitment a month in return for either a monthly bus pass or community service hours for the youth. Next slide, please. And so I wanted to share this slide with you. For this last slide, it's a thank you to Measure Q. So as you may all know, so in the late 2014, Monterey County voters approved Measure Q. So Measure Q, which is the funding source for all mobility programs and services. It is a 15-year, 1.8 countywide sales tax that MST started receiving back in April of 2015. So this is just a thank you slide to Measure Q and those who voted for this measure for the 10 years of support, where in the last 10 years, the MST's mobility programs and services has helped our elderly, veterans, and persons with disabilities live independent lives and travel to destinations that they need to get to using these services. So I thought I wanted to share this because we did officially celebrated our 10-year anniversary back in April. Next slide, please. And that's it. So if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
I have one question, maybe
Mhm.
two. So for your report, Christy, you're tracking all cab companies, Yellow Cab, Orange Cab, Salinas Cab. Whereas Kevin's report is only tracking Yellow Cab.
Oh, well, because in the taxi voucher program, it includes all the cab companies that are currently registered with the Monterey Taxi Regional Taxi Authority. And so what Kevin tracks is Yellow Cab, who is subcontracted by our MST Rides programs contractor. If that answers that question.
That does, because the numbers didn't quite add up for me.
Okay.
And then to be eligible for a taxi voucher, they do not need to be registered through paratransit.
Yes and no. So in the taxi voucher program, there's 3 different categories, taxi voucher for seniors, persons with disabilities, and veterans. So for the seniors, what we require is that they are 65 and older. So identification, that proves that. The veterans is with veteran status, and that's identified through the service provider that we partnered with. And then for persons with disabilities, that's MST Rides. So MST Rides clients are also eligible to receive taxi vouchers. Along with, we partnered with CCEL, who distributes taxi vouchers for us for their clients, Visiting Nurse Association. And then we have Alliance on Aging, who is our sign-up location, and ITN Monterey. So did I answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
because if I looked at the rides paratransit eligibility, add up the total, the recertifications, and even throw in the new, I don't quite get the 8,800 who were part of the taxi voucher program, but I think that answers it because they're
It's a combination.
it's a
Mhm.
combination.
Yeah.
Of it. Oh,
Yeah.
I like numbers.
I can see that.
Question,
Mhm.
does rides go to San Ardo and Bradley
So
or any bus?
MST mirrors our bus system services, which we provide MST rides 3/4 of a mile from bus stops. Our bus services, fixed route as we refer to them, ends in King City. But then 3/4 out of that, is still within our service area. And then we have what's called a special trip location. And so a special trip, within the MST rides extends all the way to, Bradley. And that is 2 miles out from the 101 south. And then same goes for up north. So North County, all of North County, all the way out to the Watsonville Transit is considered part of our special trip location if it's outside our 3/4 of a mile service area for the ADA.
Was that?
Yeah.
So the question I have around trips, your graphic of the map was fantastic with blue circles and numbers in it. Are those the active participants providing data for the trips program numbers?
Yes, but it doesn't capture it all because it's a miniature version of the map.
Sure.
Because if you're to click on like one of the dots that may have like 8 number on there, then it's gonna go zoom in and it'll
They'll be just-
expand.
yeah.
So
Okay.
this is just kind of like the overview of the map of where the folks are located that's enrolled in this program.
Terrific, thank you for elaborating on that. So the 35, is that Castroville, the yellow circle? The rest of them are blue?
So no, it's a combination of, so if we were to zoom into that,
Okay,
it'll-
so just that Royal Oaks,
Yeah.
Castroville region, okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little stretch.
I,
so,
yeah, I tried,
Yeah,
but it wouldn't allow me to like open up all the way into all
Sure,
the
sure.
different location.
thank you.
Christie, for the travel training program, so once folks are finished with the training, do you guys do like any follow-ups with some of the folks to like see how, like whether like they continue to like use MST services, or if like it's helped them like increased confidence in like using the services, or maybe to some degree, because I know like since these travel training programs are like done in groups, does that like motivate people within the group to like even take the bus after like impaired or something, like once they finish the program?
Yeah, ideally, that's kind of like the goal when we do group travel training is to introduce, get them oriented to our system. And then if any of the members in that group is interested in furthering their trainings to destination that, they want to get trained to, then yeah, that we would do that. And we do as much as possible, do follow up with our trainees. We do like 3 months, the 3 months up to a year.
Nice. And then for those that you follow up with, like do a lot of them like continue like using the services, or like, or
We haven't,
Yeah.
yeah, we haven't been really successful in getting the folks to return to us about, where they're at with using the bus system. But I can say that majority of the folks that do try at least once, that they'll try it again. So travel training is definitely an effective way to engage our community to try and use our transit system. And I know with Alliance on Aging, their transportation coordinator, Rena's probably going to give you a little bit more information what's going on with that, but Mario was actively doing group trainings. And before that, before Mario, their transportation coordinator was Maribel, and they actively do group trainings as well. And yeah, so the effectiveness of it does introduce folks to continue using the bus afterwards.
May I read a letter because it pertains to here, to RISE, to public transportation? It says, Mr. Donahue, if you don't know yet, we have a new executive director. His name is Michael Donahue. I am writing this from Ms. Judith Lucci. She lives in Carmel. I am writing you today to tell you about my appreciation to your staff, especially Mario. I'll let you know about Mario in a little while. My experience with Mario has been encouraging. He is so polite and professional with transportation. I found out about Alliance on Aging from a pamphlet at my doctor's office. Yay! It listed your services. I needed help with transportation because I live in Carmel Valley and it's very far and remote. I called your organization and talked with Mario. I used the rides program that picks me up to take me to specific locations. I wasn't sure how to use the public city bus. I told Sir Mario that I wasn't sure about the public bus, and he told me how it works and encouraged me to give it a try. He told me, "You can do this, Miss Judith." I was afraid, but I did use it. I challenged myself to do this training, and I learned how to ride the public bus. Sincerely, Judith.
Oh, that's
So we're all
awesome.
working together to make sure your answer that we do follow up and make sure that our seniors are encouraged, not afraid. Especially there's certain months that, it gets really, really used, and we want to take that fear away from them because we're all riding the bus. We all, need to share, and then the politeness of the driver, that's a big one. So in the comments, I'll let you know why I'm not happy.
You know, us at the Blind Center, we've actually been encouraging group travel as well. We actually just sent 5 of our clients to Vista in Santa Cruz. So they had to use whatever bus went to Watsonville and then whatever Watsonville bus connected to Santa Cruz. And yeah, long day for them, but well worth it. Any other questions for Christy? All right, Christy, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on item 7, announcements and appreciations. I have 2 announcements. The first is that the Blind Center is holding a barbecue social at Orchard Lane Park in Soledad on Saturday. All are welcome to attend, who are on this committee and also those who are joining us, as members out there as well. And also that we are holding our fall gala and silent auction on November 22nd at the Monterey Marriott. I confirmed Joe Xavier. He was appointed by Governor Jerry Brown to lead the Department of Rehab from 2014 to 2024 as our keynote speaker. I also have expressed interest from Speaker Robert Rivas and also Congressman Panetta again. So hopefully I can have all 3 of them. I'm still working on the MC, talking to Kimberly Craig, so hopefully she'll join us for that as well. And as it stands, I have 84 bottles of wine for consumption amongst 75 people. All 6 is auctioned off at the end of the night for anything not consumed. Good.
Senior Day Resource Fair is coming, sorry.
Okay.
Senior Day Resource Fair is coming during the weekend of Labor Day for the fair. Senior Day is the 28th, and if you haven't received the invitation from us, the 3 of us are on that committee with Veronica. If you haven't received your invitation, please let one of us know so we can get that to you, because we only have 50 booths available. Filling up 50.
Okay.
Booths are going fast, so
Yeah.
if you haven't gotten your invitation, check your spam, and then also let us know if you didn't get it, so I'll make sure you get it, and I'm pretty sure I got yours.
That's for 2 days,
Yeah.
right?
They opted, not enough interest to do 2 days. We were looking to go back to 2 days, but there was not enough interest, so it is just the Thursday. It runs from noon to 3, and last year we had about 800 people come through, so worth your while. If you want a booth, let us know. Sorry, go ahead, Rita.
So I have sad and good news. Sad, I lost my Marv. Wonderful young man, really caught his work with transportation. The seniors loved him. It's gonna be a loss for us again, because one is, as you know, Alliance on Aging, the primary is females. So when we get a male and come and, humble themselves with our seniors, they're in awe. The sad good news is he's working for MST now.
You thieves?
He's gonna be a slide bus driver. So when we announced this to the sites, because I told him, I said, we need to let the seniors know, because again, they got attached and they trusted him, and obviously they look for him for bus passes and information, and we weren't able to do because that was our plan for this year, to go to goodness, what is the last town before you head to LA?
San Miguel or
No.
Bradley?
No,
No.
there's water. Paul.
Hmm.
I know there's a McDonald's, and then you go this way and then you go down so you can get her. Anyway, so we were planning to go with the seniors down there, and that didn't happen. We might still do it with Maribel, we'll see. But as we mentioned, we let him know, today is Mario's last day and he will no longer be here, but he's gonna be an MST driver, and they're like, whoa, good, now we get to ride the bus all the time. So that happens, goodie for you, bad for me. So
To increase ridership.
So that's the good news. I wish him well. He is obviously entering a great organization. Again, it's a loss for us, but it's a gain for MST and the trust that he had built with the seniors and stuff. So I wanted to share that. That's it. I'll cry there.
I have an announcement. The Cornell Foundation is having an open house. I just want to know, how many of you here have actually gone to visit the Carmel Foundation with the exception of Amy and Jessica. Okay, 3 people, okay. That's 4 people, so you have gone there too? Okay, there you go. So the rest of you, if you haven't gone there, this is gonna be a special treat. We're having an open house, we're having some classes and activities and some lectures. Food, we're gonna have a taco truck. It is gonna be on a Saturday, August the 23rd. So you probably are not gonna be working, so you're more than welcome to bring your kids, your dogs, your wives, your significant others, whoever you wanna bring with you. No registration, no invitation necessary. Carmel Foundation, we are located on the corner of Lincoln and 8th. And after that, you can drive yourself down to the beach, like 3-4 blocks down, you can get to the most beautiful beach in Carmel. But just FYI.
What time, Leticia?
It starts at 10. 10 to 2.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no other announcements and appreciations. Anything to be included in the upcoming agenda? If anything comes up, please feel free to email Logan or Christie. All right, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 2:51 with our next meeting scheduled for September 24th at 2 o'clock here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.